right, let's jump right in. For all of you in sports management, especially if you're in a sports law class right now, think of this as your real-world case study. We are diving deep into a super important piece of legislation in Georgia, the Uniform Athlete Agents Act. And trust me, this isn't just some dry set of rules. It's the actual playbook for how agents and student athletes are supposed to interact legally in the state. So, let's get into it.
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll figure out who the key players are. Then we'll walk through what it takes to actually become a registered agent. After that, it's all about the rules of conduct, what a contract should look like, and finally, what happens when someone breaks those rules. Make sense, right? Okay, first up, the key players. You can't really understand the rules of the game if you don't know who's on the field. This law is all about protecting certain people and regulating others. So let's get those definitions down cold. Just think about this for a second. A star athlete, a bright future, and it all gets derailed by a shady deal. This question, right here, is the entire reason this law exists. It's all about preventing that exact scenario, protecting young athletes from exploitation, and making sure their eligibility and their careers are safe. So who exactly is a student athlete according to this law? Well, the definition is way broader than you might think. It's not just the star quarterback on Saturday. It's anyone who is eligible to play or, and this is the key part, may be eligible in the future. Yep, that means this law protects high school recruits too. It's a really wide safety net. And on the other side of the coin, you've got the athlete agent. Basically, this is anyone who's out there trying to get a student to sign on the dotted line. But notice that big exception. Mom, dad, or your immediate family don't count. The law's smart about this. It draws a clear line between professional business and family support. And this right here, this is the trigger. The agency contract. The second this document comes into play, all the rules we're talking about kick in. It's any agreement where an athlete says, yep, you have the power to go negotiate my pro or endorsement deals. Okay, now that we know who's who, what does it actually take to become an agent in Georgia? Well, you can't just print up some business cards and call yourself an agent. No way. There's a formal process, a path to legitimacy to make sure you're on the up and up. And it really is a gauntlet. You have to be a completely open book with the Secretary of State. We're talking your entire business history for the last 5 years, all your past clients, any criminal history, especially fraud. You even have to disclose if you've ever gotten an athlete or a school into trouble before. It is all about total transparency. So what does all that boil down to? It's pretty straightforward. On one side, you've got the automatic deal breakers, felony convictions, a history of fraud, anything that shows you've harmed athletes or schools in the past. Basically, if you have a shady track record, you are not getting in the door. But if you have a clean record and you disclose everything properly, you're on your way. For you guys, those denial factors, those are your red flags. All right, so you've made it through the gauntlet and you're a registered agent. Fantastic. Now comes the really important part, playing by the book. Let's get into the do's and, more importantly, the don'ts. Think of these as the cardinal sins for a sports agent in Georgia. You absolutely cannot give a student athlete, or their mom, their coach, anyone, anything of value as an incentive to sign. You can't lie, you can't mess with the dates on a contract, and that last one is huge. You must tell the athlete, point blank, that signing could make them ineligible to play. And this rule is so important, the 72-hour rule. Notice it says the agent and the athlete. The responsibility is on both of them to tell the athletic director a contract has been signed. And it's a race against the clock, 72 hours or before the next game, whichever comes first. That's because the school needs to know immediately to protect everyone involved. So we've covered how an agent should behave. Now let's dissect the contract itself. Because, you guessed it, the law is incredibly specific about what has to be written down in that agreement. This is all about leaving no room for doubt. No fuzzy math, no vague promises. The contract has to spell out in black and white exactly how the agent gets paid, who else gets a piece of the action, what expenses are covered, and what services the agent is actually going to provide. It protects the athlete from any nasty surprises down the road. Now this might be the most critical part of the entire document. By law, this exact warning, in bold, all caps letters, has to be right there, practically staring the athlete in the face next to the signature line. It's like a big, flashing stop sign, making sure the athlete understands exactly what's at stake. And what if an athlete signs and then has second thoughts? Well, that's where this number comes in, 14 days. That is the athlete's safety valve. It's a cooling off period where they can cancel the contract, no questions asked, no penalty. and that right can't be waived, ever.
Okay, so we've got all these rules and requirements, but are there any teeth to this law? What happens if an agent just ignores them? Well, let's just say the penalties are steep. Let's look at the high cost of breaking the rules.
First step, $10,000. Every registered agent has to post a surety bond for at least this amount. Think of it like a security deposit. If an agent's illegal actions cause the university to get hit with fines or sanctions, this is the pot of money used to help pay for those damages.
Next, we've got $25,000. Now, this isn't the bond. This is a straight-up fine. The Secretary of State can personally hit a rogue agent with a civil penalty of up to 25 grand for a violation. That's a direct shot to the wallet. And now we get to the really serious stuff, $100,000. This is when things go from being a civil issue to a criminal one. Yeah, a felony. For violations like intentionally failing to notify the athletic director, an agent faces a fine up to 100 grand. And, get this, 1 to 5 years in prison. And here's something that all you future athletic directors need to remember. The school can fight back. If a university gets hit with NCAA penalties because of what an agent or athlete did, the school has the legal right to sue them to recover their financial losses. The law gives them a way to get their money back.
So this all brings us to the big looming question, especially today. This law was designed for a world before name, image, and likeness, before NIL completely changed the game. So is this framework, designed to regulate agents for pro deals, still enough to protect athletes in this brand new world of marketing and brand contracts? That's the question you all will be helping to answer in your careers.